If you don't be specific about what you want, you are not going to get it. Stay tuned because I'm going to reveal my top tips on how to set your goals for 2024. Now, my last tip in this video is the most valuable tip to my personal journey over the last 6 years. It is the tip that actually prevented me from failing this time. I tried to achieve this goal many times before, but this time I didn't give up. I didn't fail and it stuck. And here I am today. If you want to know what this most valuable tip was, make sure you stay tuned until the end. 2024 can be, should be, and will be the best year that you can make it. But first of all, you're going to really need to take stock of yourself. You're going to need to look at your behavior traits, your habits, and be really brutally honest with yourself within a self-reflection process in order to think about how we can make changes to make 2024 your best year yet. First of all, I want you to think about, if you completely let yourself go, where would you see yourself in 3 to 5 years? Now, I know personally, if I completely let myself go, because I went there before, and if I continued on that cycle in 3 to 5 years, where I would be. And quite frankly, I absolutely do not want to be there. This is your start point. This is the point in which you want to avoid. Now, think about, in 3 to 5 years, in your wildest dreams, where would you love to see yourself? What would you love to be achieving? What's the life you would love to be living? Now, this is the complete opposite end of the spectrum and what you really want to be striving for. We now have a vision of what we definitely want to avoid and a vision of what we definitely want to strive for. And now think about some goals that you would like to set for 2024. Be realistic with an appropriate reason of what you think is achievable, or go big and go hard. Dream big. There is a difference between goals and dreams, but ultimately goals are your stepping stones that lead towards your dreams. First of all, we want to think about what to avoid in 3 to 5 years if you completely let yourself go. And second of all, you want to think about, if you absolutely nailed every single action point for 3 to 5 years in your wildest dreams, where do you think you could get to? And then we can start realistically thinking about some dreams and some goals to set for 2024. Right guys, so it's time to grab yourself a pen and a notebook or piece of paper, or if you're a bit too modern, more modern than I, you might just want to grab your phone and make some notes, because I'm going to give you 5 top tips on how to start preparing to set your goals, because the goal setting process is not as simple as, yalla, I want to lose 5 kilos, that's my goal. Because let's face it, if that's all you're going to put into this, you're not going to get anything out of this, and I can guarantee you now you're not going to achieve that goal. If you really want to achieve your goal, you're going to have to put some deep thought process into this, and it's going to have to be something you want enough to make sacrifices in your life. Because let's face it, anything worth working towards is worth sacrificing for. Once you've got your notepaper and pen, step number 1 is to reflect and review. And I'm going to give you 4 questions that I want you to ask yourself. I want you to think hard about, be really honest and true to yourself, and make notes. The process alone of simply writing things down, taking them out of your brain and onto paper, makes the whole process a little bit more real. It's like you're putting it out there into the universe. Question number 1. What are you really proud of achieving so far in your life? Not necessarily 2023, just in your life. Question number 2. What challenges have you faced so far? Question number 3. What were your biggest lessons learnt? And question number 4. What areas of your life do you really want to improve? I think deep about this. It doesn't have to just be fitness or wellness. It could be financial, professional, personal relationships, home. Be creative. Think about every possible area of your life and think about what parts of it you most want to improve. That's tip number 1 in preparing to set your goals. If you're enjoying this video, please drop me a like, and I'm going to move on to tip number 2 in how to prepare to set your goals for 2024. Top tip number 2 in preparing to set your goals is to identify your values and your passion. This is because connecting your goals to your passion and your core values makes you much more likely to work towards the action plan, do the daily actions, and actually achieve your goal as an end result. For example, let's take Sarah for an example, and Sarah really values her health and well-being, and therefore her goal is going to be something connected to her value of her health and well-being, perhaps working towards a better future and the longevity of her internal health, not necessarily her external aesthetics and the way she looks. Another example, let's talk about Catherine maybe. Catherine is really passionate about saving the environment, working hard towards cleaning up the oceans. If this is something you're really passionate about, then perhaps setting your goal, maybe it's a fitness related goal, but connecting that to your passion is going to really help you to work towards it. So maybe getting your daily steps in whilst doing a beach cleanup might be a way of connecting your passion, your values, and your goals for 2024. Top tip number 3 in preparing to set your goals for 2024 is to brainstorm and explore. Go wild, be really creative, and think about every area of your life. Don't just think about the number on the scales and what you look like in the mirror. There is so much more to life than this. Be creative. Perhaps you want to think about exploring a new hobby, dance classes, Zumba, salsa, bachata. Maybe you think that your fitness goal could be more creative if you learnt the sport of strongman, or if you learn to surf or wakeboard. And perhaps by investing more in a creative way of achieving your goal, maybe once a week, to supplement something that you're doing in the gym or to supplement your new nutrition action plan. But be creative and think outside of the box. Stop thinking down the traditional route of I want to lose 5 kilos and fit in my dress within the first 6 weeks of the year. Step number 4 in preparing to set your goals for 2024. We need to prioritize and focus. We can all dream of becoming a millionaire in 2024, winning world championships, moving to a big house, buying a new car, wearing a Rolex, or whatever it is that you might be dreaming of. But let's really focus on what we can actually achieve and what actually resonates with our values and our goals. Now we're tying in point 1, point 2, and point 3 into point 4 to prioritize and focus. Connect everything together with that creativity. If you want to prioritize and focus, perhaps you want to choose 3 to 5 maximum, minimum 3, maximum 5 points from your list so far and try and connect them together. Perhaps you want to increase your fitness because your value is your long-term health. Perhaps you want to prioritize eating better because your value is your long-term health. And perhaps you want to practice spending more time outside in natural sunlight, in the fresh air, because you value your long-term health. And also because perhaps you're passionate about the beach or water sports or the forest, or you've got dogs like myself and you want to walk the dogs. Let's think about how we can tie together the points so far. Guys, point number 5 of my top 5 tips on how to prepare to set your goals for 2024 is to start small and celebrate your small wins. So for example, Sarah, who perhaps values her long-term health, wants to achieve a better fitness level, might start by just cutting out sugary carbonated drinks like cans of Coke, cans of lemonade, whatever it might be, and replacing it with water. End of story. This is the sacrifice that we spoke about at the beginning that she is willing to make. As well as cutting out the sugary carbonated drinks, she's going to commit to 1 outside walk for 1 hour every weekend with a friend. She values her social life. She's passionate about being outside, and her goal ultimately is to develop her long-term health. Can you see how these are all starting to tie together? And they're very small, achievable steps that we can celebrate along the way. Week 1, did you drink a sugary carbonated drink? No. Did you drink more water? Yes, we all know drinking more water is great for us. Did you go out for an hour's walk with your friend? Yes. Did you enjoy it? Yes. Are you going to go for your walk in the same location next week, or are you going to choose a different location for your next week's walk? Stay tuned, guys, because I'm going to move into 5 steps on now setting a specific achievable goal. We've spoken about preparing to set them, a good process of reflection and reviewing. We're now going to talk about actually setting, writing down in your notebook with your pad and paper, pad and pen. If you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Part 2 of this video is talking about actually setting yourself some achievable goals. We're going to talk about SMART goals. Now, to be honest, I'm quite sure you've all heard of this before, so just going to run through the SMART goal setting procedure as a little recap, and hopefully you'll be set to go from there. So SMART goals, they are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. That is your SMART. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. When you have your notepad and your pen, and you're actually now, upon your 5 top tips of reviewing and reflecting, you're now coming to specifically writing your goal. Be really, really precise about what it is you want to achieve. For example, don't just say, I want to get healthier. We want to be, how does getting healthier look to you? Let's talk about short-term goals, medium-term goals, and long-term goals. Perhaps in the short-term goals, doing a 1-hour walk a day is your short-term goal. If you can maintain that for 6 weeks, I'm pretty sure this habit is going to become embedded within you. Medium-term goal, maybe you'd like to join a gym and start strength training 3 times a week. You're going to need to go and find a gym. You're perhaps going to want to look at finding a personal trainer or a program that you can follow within the gym. Maybe a long-term goal, we're talking 12 weeks, so 3 months to 6 months. Maybe you want to be able to do a 5K run, do 10 push-ups, maybe do 10 pull-ups. It completely depends on your starting point in order to declare what your goal and your end point is going to be. But be specific. Getting healthier is not very specific. Measurable. When we're talking about measurable, we want to talk about quantitative data, numbers. We want to be able to say, well, in week 1, I could do 1 push-up. So if we're looking at 10 push-ups, perhaps you're going to say, in 10 weeks, I'm going to do 10 push-ups. I'm going to increase it by 1 push-up a week. And in 10 weeks' time, I'm going to have nailed those 10 push-ups. Perhaps it's running. Perhaps at the moment, running for 1 minute is enough to get you completely gassed out. Perhaps you want to be able to run non-stop for 5 minutes in the next 5 weeks. That is a measurable goal that's going to help you get healthier. Achievable. Be realistic, guys. It would be my dream in 2024 to win the Strong Woman World Championships. But realistically, that's probably a little bit far out of my reach, considering I know who the competition is out there. But realistically, I've already qualified to participate in the Strong Woman World Championships. Maybe my goal, because that's by the end of the year, I'm saying this in public, my goal could be to place top 20 at the World Championships, top 15. My real dream next year would be to place top 10 at the World Championships. That's a dream. My realistic goal, top 20, top 15. I could review this around about June time. And number 4 was relevance. Make sure the goal is relevant to your life. We don't want to be setting a goal that has nothing to do with your values, your passions, or your general direction in where your path is taking you in life. And number 5 was being time bound. Be specific with your time. As I said, perhaps you have a 1-week goal, is to walk every day for a week. Perhaps you have a 5-week goal, which is to improve your running time without stopping by 1 minute each week. Perhaps it's by in 6 months' time, you want to be able to do 10 pull-ups, or you want to have lost 5 kilos, or you want to have something else. Be specific, be measurable, be achievable, be realistic, and set yourself a time-bound period. These time-bound periods can be flexible. Set them, but understand that if it takes you a week longer, doesn't mean you're a failure. We can adapt and change, and I'm now going to move on to part 3 of this video, where I'm going to talk about creating your action plan. We've reflected and reviewed. We've set the goal. How do you achieve that goal is through the action plan. Stay tuned. If you haven't already, please like this video, and I'm going to give you my top 5 tips on creating your action plan to achieve your goal. Now, before I move on to my top 5 tips on creating your action plan, I'd like to direct you to, number 1, my website, which is dowithpurpose.com. And on my website, you'll find links to my podcast, which you can also find on Spotify. It's just easier to get there through my website. The podcast is called With Purpose by Scarlett, available on Spotify. On this podcast, you are going to find the first 8 episodes are going through how to set a goal, make an action plan, follow through, adapt and change, reflect and review. Please, if you want some more information, surplus to this video, please head to my website, click on my podcast, and listen to the first 8 episodes. Anyway, 5 tips on how to create an action plan that's going to actually help you achieve your goals. So step number 1, you need to develop an action plan. You need a pen and paper. Personally, when I went through the hardest part of my transformation journey, I had a huge whiteboard in the house, whiteboard pens, and every Sunday night I would rub the whiteboard clean, write Monday to Sunday on the board, and list out my whole week, my professional duties, my family duties, my household duties, my social commitments, and then I would map in there, where am I going to get time to go to the gym, go for my walks, Other wellness activities, my yoga, my stretching, my meditation, my sound healing. I created an action plan of small, daily, achievable targets. On a Sunday night, I could look at Monday. I could prepare, pack my bags the night before. I could make sure that all of these things on my Monday list were achievable. And by the end of Monday, I could come home, rub them off, cross them off, tick them off, and know and celebrate the small wins that day one, I did everything I said I was going to do. I tell you for real, damn, you go to bed at night feeling really satisfied with yourself that you did all of those things. Monday night, you can then look at Tuesday. You can decide, right, this is what I need to take, this is what I need to pack, have I prepared my food? Well, I've got so much to do, when am I going to eat, how can I prepare my meals, what can I do the night before to make the next day better? This is how you break your goal of getting healthier into, I'm going to go for an hour walk tomorrow, or I'm going to hit the gym for half an hour, or I'm going to go to a group fitness Zumba class. If your group class is directly after work, you need to pack your bag the night before, so that's not an excuse. Pack your clothes. You're going to be hungry. Have you got lunch prepared for work? Have you got a snack prepared for towards the end of work, or driving towards your Zumba class? You might want to eat and drink something in the car. You might not, because it might make you feel sick. Think about all of these steps. Think about your whole day, every single detail of the day, and make sure you're prepared so that there's no excuses. You can't say, oh, I've got my stuff. Oh, I'm too hungry, I need to go home. Oh, I'm too tired. Get it done and go home and cross things off your list and celebrate the fact that again, day 2, you managed to do every single thing you said you were going to do. On Sunday, I would always meal prep, because I know Monday to Friday, I don't have time to cook. If I don't prepare my lunch and take it to work, how am I going to eat all day? Then I'm going to eat crap because I'm going to be starving by the time I get home. I'm not going to go to the gym because I'm going to be in a rush to go home because I'm so hungry. You can see the knock-on compound effect of not being prepared. Likewise, you can see the knock-on compound effect of being prepared. The food is cooked, the bags are packed. I have no excuses apart from to do all the shit that I said I was going to do. That is my top tip number 1, is to make an action plan. Break your larger goals into small, daily, achievable actions that you are actually going to do. Step number 2 of actually achieving your goals is tracking your progress. Now, I am an ex-primary school teacher here coming at you. Any teachers out there that are listening to this, or to be honest, anybody in any corporate role, tracking progress is like vital to any business achieving their goal, and business goals are basically making money, right? If we're not tracking the spends and the funds of a business, the incomings, the outgoings, if we're not tracking that, how do we know if the business is making money? If you're an employee and you have a list of KPIs, how do we know if you deserve your pay rise at the end of the year in your yearly review, unless we're tracking your progress towards your KPIs? How do you know if you're achieving your goals to make yourself a better person by the end of 2024, to develop your personal growth even further, unless you're tracking your progress? Come back to point number 1 of developing your action plan, your day-to-day to-do steps. Now you need to go and review and reflect. Now, whether you do this every night when you get home, or whether you wait until the end of the week and you go through and you say, yes, did that, didn't do that one. Why? Why didn't you on Thursday do one of the points that you said you were going to do? Is it a valid reason? Or quite frankly, is it a BS excuse? If it is, how are you going to not allow that to happen again next Thursday? So all the things you did do, excellent. Bang them straight back in next week. Tick them off when you've achieved them. Maybe if you were going for a half an hour walk, you could extend that to a 40-minute walk. Maybe if you ran for 1 minute without stopping, you could say next week, I'm going to run for 2 minutes without stopping. You've tracked what you've achieved in week 1, and you're pushing your progress for week 2, baby steps. I'm not just going to say, right, I'm going out for a 5K run, even though I haven't ran since I was 5 years old. Okay guys, step number 3 in achieving your goals is to build yourself a support system. For some of you, that might mean joining a community. Joining group fitness classes might help you because you're part of a community. Perhaps that might mean speaking to your friend, somebody who really cares about you as much as you care about them, and saying, you know what, I'm really serious this year. I really want to make sure I'm doing more for the better of my health. Every week I would love to go for an hour walk with you. 1, because I value your time. I love our friendship. I think you're really funny. I enjoy our conversation. And 2, because by doing this with somebody, it's going to help me stay accountable to doing my 1 hour walk on a Sunday morning. Perhaps it's a family or friend, family member who you phone once a week. Maybe you phone your mum every Friday, for example, and You can say to your mum on the phone, Mum, I did all of my things this week that I said I was going to do, and next week we'll check in and we'll talk about whether or not I managed to do them again next week. Okay, step number 4 in how to achieve your goal is to stay motivated. Now, stay motivated, it's so easy to say, stay motivated. It's not as easy as that, trust me. I'd say 50% of the time I am not motivated to do the things that I do. But motivation comes from momentum. And the law of physics says momentum comes from action. An object that is stationary will start to build momentum and pick up momentum whilst it's moving. But to start, it needs a force. If you think of like a huge concrete ball that is stationary, for that ball to start rolling, an object, maybe a human, is going to have to apply some force, some uncomfortable pressure to start that momentum. Once that momentum has started, that ball, an object in motion, stays in motion. That is the law of physics. Once you have some momentum, because you're doing your daily tasks, to start your daily tasks, you need that uncomfortable pressure and that force to make you get out of bed early and do the things you said you were going to do. To go to the gym after work when you're tired and do the things that you told yourself you were willing to sacrifice your comforts for a little bit of discomfort for a long-term benefit. Once you start making these actions and you build more momentum and you start to see some progress, motivation will start to come. Motivation comes after the momentum is built. One more point on staying motivated is the fact that we don't always feel like doing the things we said we were going to do. If you always lead your life by the way that you feel, you're not going to achieve anything. You have to stop letting the way you feel impact the things you do. Because if you flip the script, the things you do are going to make you feel a lot better. Things you do are going to give you sense of satisfaction. They're going to give you endorphins. They're going to make you sleep better. They're going to make you feel internal gratification, long-term gratification. Not just giving into the feelings immediately is again coming back to that point of putting a bit of force and a bit of uncomfortable pressure on yourself to begin with to help build the momentum. And then you might start finding yourself looking forward to going to the gym or feeling more motivated about it. If you're enjoying this video and you haven't already, please drop me a like, write me a comment, maybe share with me below what do you think your goals are for 2024 and tell me how are they associated with your values and your passions and how do you think you're going to achieve them. Remember, anything that you share on here is going to be helping somebody. Anybody who reads that comment might be inspired to then think harder about their own goals and share them below. Last tip for you, tip number 5 on how to achieve your goal in 2024 is to adapt and overcome. I honestly think this is the most important point of them all. You're going to face some barriers along your journey. I would like you, once you've set your goal, you've done your reflection and your review, you've set your SMART goal, you've written your daily action points out, sit and think, have I set this goal before? I know in my journey that started to become successful from 2018 onwards, but before 2018, I tried to lose weight, I had tried to go to the gym, I had tried all of these things before and I kept failing. Why? What was stopping me achieving the goal before 2018? What barriers was I seeing over and over again? And I was tripping up every time I got to the barrier. The same barrier would come back and I would trip up again. There's going to be obstacles, hurdles, barriers in your way. What's important is how you approach them. And if you can foresee them coming, if you have prepared yourself for this barrier, and I know that by the end of January, it's my best friend's birthday on January the 27th. My goal was to stop drinking or to drink less or to go for 3 months with no alcohol, whatever your goal was. But by January 27th, it's not even the end of the month yet. It's my best friend's 30th birthday, 40th birthday, and we're going out for some drinks. What are you going to do about that? How are you going to overcome this barrier? Because that's going to get in the way of you achieving your goal. Maybe it's your best friend's birthday and you're going out for an unlimited all-you-can-eat brunch. But you've worked so hard for 27 days to make really good choices on your food. What are you going to do on that day to make sure you still make good choices, but you still go out and have a good time with your friends and you enjoy your social life because they were part of your values and your passions? It's to go out and eat. You're passionate about food, you value your friendship and your social life, but your goal is to lose weight. How can you tie all of these things in together? Have you built your support system to help you overcome that day? Remember, if your goal is important enough to you, you will make the sacrifice to achieve it. If it's not important, you will make excuses. So ask yourself, what barriers am I going to overcome? For me personally, in my journey as a teacher at the time, it was every time there was a school holiday, my routine would break. I was brilliant in routine when I was in routine. The minute I had a school holiday and my routine would break and I would go and travel, I would return and find it so unbearably hard to get back into my routine, and everything would go out the window, all my hard work. And it wasn't until I addressed this barrier that I started to realize I can overcome this. I can be prepared for that first day back after vacation. I can get straight back on track after having had a holiday. I value holidays. I'm passionate about traveling. I value my own personal time. To align that with my goal my goal at the time was to lose weight. So to align that in, I had to figure out how to make sure I stayed in line with my routine and my daily action plan. Now guys, I hope you found that video really helpful on how to prepare for setting your goals for 2024, how to actually set specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound goals, how to make sure you're following through and completing your action plan. As I said, please head over to my podcast on Spotify, With Purpose by Scarlett Harvey. You'll find the first 8 episodes are exactly around this topic. They are really, really valuable content, if I may say so myself. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel because there'll be loads more content coming up through January that's going to really help you to stay on track, stay motivated, and to achieve your goals in 2024. If you didn't know already, I'm also tracking my progress through my YouTube channel, through my training video vlogs, and you can see my journey to the World Championships in 2024 and see if I achieve my goal of top 20, 15, or the big dream of top 10 at World Championships. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.